Fareway values family, and we treat our employees and our customers like their family.
If you're looking for a place to shop, our service is amazing.
We have put an emphasis on hiring good people.
One of the things that we talk about is just doing the right thing.
And that is so key to this day and age.
Fareway just isn't about selling groceries. It's about taking care of people.
That, to me, is the best thing we can do at Fareway.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa Everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
What up, and happy Tuesday morning here on the 2nd of July, 2024. It's Two Guys on Iowa Everywhere. My name is Chris Williams, joined by Chris Hassel in Florida. Matt Van Winkle producing today's program, as always, as we are ready to get after it, courtesy of our friends from Fareway Meat and Grocery. We are live today in the Channel Seed Studios. I am going to go to Fareway tonight. I'm going to buy a bunch of baby back ribs.
I want my baby back. Give me that baby back.
Real quick, Williams, a pro tip. You go to Fareway, right across the street, there's fireworks. So load up on everything.
You guys need fireworks.
See, I got my 4th of July Cyclones hat. I'm ready.
We're going to have beer, hot dogs, baby back ribs, and more fireworks than you would know what to do with, Hassel.
Fireworks are the biggest waste of money. It's just nothing but a nuisance. I've never purchased a firework in my life.
This doesn't surprise me.
And I hope I never do. I despise people that shoot off fireworks, to be honest.
Why do you hate celebrating the United States of America?
I don't. I mean, you can celebrate the U.S. in a lot of different ways. Grill your meats, drink your beer, enjoy your freedom. Just don't give me noise pollution, please.
Check out this bad boy I bought yesterday. The Venom series.
The Venom. That's
2,500 gram finale.
That's pretty tame for names of fireworks these days.
Yeah.
You went all in on those, Van Winkle.
Venom,
the Anaconda, the Black
Blow
Mamba,
Your Cock Off series.
The Diamondback.
Boy, if you are a guy who creates and has to name fireworks, it's got to be a tough thing these days.
Why is that?
It's kind of like, remember when the craft beer phase hit? It's like, how do you come up with the name for a craft beer? They're all taken. There's a million of them, right?
I just created one. The Venom Blow Your Cock Off series. I mean, it's as easy as that. A lot of people in the comments agreeing with me. Kyle agrees. Waste of money. Fake Bob Vanderplatz agrees. Fake. No, huge waste of money, he said. And look at the fireworks, Van Winks. Made in China.
Made in China? What are you doing? You're supporting a communist country.
Didn't read the fine print.
It's Van Woke for you.
Well, it'll be a hell of a.
I'm looking forward to celebrating.
I thought you were going to get. I thought you were going to get stuck in this third world country you were in
because of the hurricane.
Yeah, I was really concerned about you.
I don't think that St. Bart's is being affected by that hurricane. It's south of there, and it's a pretty small hurricane. As far as the land it takes up, it's powerful. It packs a punch, but it's small in diameter. So I think I would have been fine. But yes, we were happy to get out on Sunday, and I liked the kind of short trip. I mean, a lot of times you go on vacation, you're out a whole week. I was only there 4 nights. It's kind of nice. In and out. You get your thing done. You spend all your money.
Oh, look at that. Throwback to our guys, Murph and Andy right there with the shirt.
Yeah, repping Murph and Andy on Friday. It was beautiful weather. It was the most expensive place I've ever been in the world, though.
Really?
Yeah.
It looks super remote. Is it
so you have to take,
is it just tourism basically?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to take a puddle jumper from St. Martin. St. Martin's more of a bigger island, bigger city, and then you get on this puddle jumper. It was the craziest landing of my life. I could not believe it. And I've seen it in movies, this landing, but I didn't know that that's what was coming for us on this plane. So I was sitting. Van Wink, do you have that video? I posted it on Instagram. I can send it to you again, though, so we can show that. It was in a story, so it's probably disappeared by now. It's a little puddle jumper, 2-propeller prop plane, Win Air, they call it. And there's no bathroom. There's no air conditioning. It is seat yourself, and everyone that gets on first sits in the back of the plane, closer to the doorway, because it's a little cooler back there. Well, we got on last, and I sat front row, and there's no door to the cockpit. My feet were in the cockpit, but it was a really cool vantage point because I could see. I mean, I was 2 feet away I could have grabbed the throttle lever if I wanted to. And so I could see what the pilots were doing, and I could see right out the window. And we came, Van Wink's going to play the video. We came over this mountain, and why can't you see out the, it's weird. In this video that I'm watching, I can't see out the front windows, but you almost hit the mountain. You are so close to hitting the side of the mountain and even landing on cars because you have to dip down. It's basically a dive down to the runway. In fact, one of our taxi drivers said that recently a man stood on the side of the road and was filming the landing because it's a famous shot, the landing at this airport in St. Bart's. And the tire from one of the planes hit him in the back of the head on approach. And he doesn't know what happened to him. He was airlifted out of there, doesn't know what happened to him.
Is he alive?
We don't know. My guess is he's not. If you get hit by an airplane tire.
That sounds pretty drastic right there.
Why is everybody making fun of my sweatband from that picture?
Okay, I'll tell you why. Because people do that on the internet. They just make fun of you.
What's wrong with a sweatband? I sweat a lot. I get sweat in my eyes, so I put a sweatband on when I work out.
Sweaty balls. I'd like to introduce you to Pete Sweaty.
But it was a really fun time. I'm glad I'm back. It's only a 3-day work week for me. So
glad you're back too.
How was your trip? Where were you at? Ozarks?
No, I just went down to Southwest Iowa.
Oh, Lake Icaria?
Actually, yeah, I was at Lake Icaria, actually. Believe it or not, that's exactly where I was.
Wow.
Good news.
Any brain-eating amoebas?
Nope, no brain-eating amoebas. Now, my daughter Cameron did go on the inner tube, so we're waiting to see if that amoeba got into her brain.
See, that's the problem. You go on those inner tubes, the water flies up. That's how you get it. The water flies up into your nose. It happens when you're jumping into the water, or when you're on like a jet ski or an inner tube.
Or when you're peeing.
Well, that's the other thing.
It swims up the stream.
Wasn't that the guy in the Amazon?
Yeah, and it paralyzes your penis.
That's not the brain-eating amoeba. That's the cock-eating amoeba.
That should be the name for some fireworks. The cock-eating amoeba.
Everybody in the comments basically is agreeing with me. Joseph, once again, complete waste of money, especially when people fire them off for a month straight. Look,
I won't lie. The only
do them on 4th of July, okay? Do them on the 4th. Be done with it. And don't do them at 1 in the morning.
How much do you
Matt,
think I spent?
You didn't spend more than $40 on those.
Hassel, what do you think?
My guess is you only went to a place where you had like a deal.
Those are cheap.
The guy gave them to you for a discount.
If you have to buy the big packs, they're usually cheap. That's the
what
one
are they
thing
called? They're called the Venom series.
The Venom series.
$25.
A cool hundy.
Oh, did you really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job, Maddie. Okay, that surprised me. That's twice what I thought you spent right there. All right. Anyways, I like blowing shit up. Now, usually I will do what you just said. If I'm going to buy a bunch of fireworks, it's because I have like an advertising deal with somebody and I want to support them or they're giving them to me. And I'll just let everybody. I just love lighting the thing and then running away with a bush light in your hand and just seeing what happens.
When I
Did I ever tell you about the race I was at when the lady got hit with a firework?
What? No.
I was announcing a race one time, like, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago. And it was like the biggest race in history at this track, small track. So they're like, we're going to do it right because we got all these people here and we want to impress them. And they shot off fireworks before the race. One of the fireworks went awry and it hit a woman standing on a trailer who was there in the pits watching the races. So not only did the firework blow up on her leg, it knocked her off.
Knocked her off the top of the trailer?
Yeah, it was fucking crazy.
Jesus.
She lived.
Well, that's good.
I think she had a broken arm, some broken ribs, and third-degree burns, but she lived.
I got all my firework business out of the way when I was in middle school because my good friend was, I think I told this story before, but he was Mexican and his family always went to Mexico. They'd bring back these just crazy fireworks and we would sneak out in the middle of the night. And my favorite thing was to set the bottle rocket on its side and either shoot it at houses or shoot it down the street where we were supposed to be running and try to dodge it. So that was 7th, 8th grade. Grow up, folks. Grow up. We're adults now.
We are.
We need fireworks.
Fireworks will be going off here in this town in Bondurant. It'll be
See, you
like
folks in Iowa, you don't know how to handle
zone.
it. Like from everything I've heard, Iowa is like, you want to talk about a third world country. Iowa's a third world country 4th of July week. Florida, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's because you're all old people.
Oh, God, that's
like,
not true.
Cool people don't live in Florida. I don't want to live in It's all the young elitists and retired people. Yeah. See, this is how you do the
Remember this
right
last
here.
year?
Oh, yeah.
Lighting up fireworks with a torch?
I wouldn't exactly say that's a firework. That's a sparkler. That's a sparkler.
Well,
that is,
you get the point.
Even in states where fireworks are illegal, you can still use sparklers because it's not a firework.
Yeah, but you're missing the point. It's the blowtorch, that giant ass fire thrower.
No, I just see you in shorty shorts with a sprinkler, twirling it around.
Hey guys.
Hey. Happy 4th.
Well, real quick, we'll do a cheers to the freaking holiday with our friends from Steeple Ridge Bourbon. How about that? And then we'll get into some football. All right. Go out and get yourself some whiskey this weekend, some bourbon from Steeple Ridge, but I would encourage you to not have too much of it as you set off fireworks. It just feels like a bad idea. But sit there and relax.
Yeah, we don't need a reenactment of this.
This is one of my favorite videos that Van Mick just pulled up. The families just sitting outside relaxing in the front yard and some guy just
They get stuck under the car.
The best is the guy right before everything blows up. He goes, "You got to put it in the chute." That dude in the blue is an idiot.
Total idiots.
What a moron.
What's the one? How about the one with, what was the, it's like, get out of there, Larry. Larry, get out of there. Larry, get out of there. It's like this guy in a wheelchair that lights off a firework and then he can't wheel away. He says like his wheels are stuck or something.
That video Matt just played, if you're listening on the podcast, I highly encourage you to go back and watch it on YouTube if you have. That is one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. I think last year, Matt, didn't you pull that up last? I think I watched that 100 times last year on the.
Matt, pull up the put it in reverse, Terry. That's what it was. Back up, Terry. Put it in reverse, Terry. Terry, get the hell out of there, Terry. Put it in reverse. Is this it, Ben Winks? Here it is.
I think so.
Oh no! Get out of the way, dude.
Put it in reverse. Oh, Lord. Lord, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Oh, Jesus. What you doing, Terry? Terry, what's the
Now he's moving.
Poor Terry, he's in a motorized scooter. His legs immobilized, and he can't get out of the put in reverse, Terry. Well, I hope you have some good, clean fun on the 4th.
Real quick, this isn't a 4th of July story, but it may as well be. So I'm camping at Lake Icaria.
Mm-hmm.
And you know Corning folk.
Oh, yeah.
Me and my girls are going out to the races. Going to watch the dirt races, right, out at Corning. Big late model shows in town. Phenomenal crowd. Great job to my friends out there at the Adams County Speedway. They pulled off a great night. Well, anyways, we're all out there drinking beer, getting ready to go to the races. And all of a sudden we hear, like, this is what we keep hearing, okay?
Is that like a parent spanking their kid?
It sounds like, those fireworks that just go pop. You shoot them off and it just goes pop. This is the one, or like the little dynamite things. You throw them against the ground and they snap.
Yeah.
Anyways, for something happened, I got up because I needed to go and get something out of my truck or whatever. And it's this group of like 5, I would say, men in their upper 20s to lower 30s who are all pushing 300, okay? And they are so sunburned. All of them are. Like, like when you've just been out and you're just cherry red all over. Like,
yes.
They are, it's like, dude, like skin cancer type stuff. They are so sunburned. These guys had a table full of, it looked like they were playing like Flippy Cup or something, okay? And what they would do is they were playing some game, and the loser had to stand there with his chest out and take a Ric Flair slap across his sunburnt chest as hard as he could. And that was the popping sound that we heard. This is the campsite right down from us.
That's called redneck fireworks.
Oh, my God.
Is it really? Or did you just make that up?
I made that up.
Oh, okay.
That should be the name of some fireworks. I'd never seen anything like it. These guys were just masochists, just standing there and just taking one after another. And after they got hit, because, I went over and talked to them, right? Because I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is awesome. And they would do it, and it was just like a white hand right across their chest after it happened. It was.
Do you think that they set out to get the sunburn so that they could play this game?
I don't know. I don't think so. My guess is that they seemed rather intelligent after talking to them. I feel like they have jobs. These aren't like, and they have pretty big trucks and campers. So unless they're just in debt up to their ass, they seem. I just think they were really drunk, and they're like, "Oh my God, look how sunburnt we got. Let's get after it."
Jesus.
Craziest thing I'd ever seen.
You Western Iowa people, you are a different breed. You're different from Eastern Iowa people. And I mean, we've got our problems. But that sort of thing, not so much. Do you think it hurts more, a sunburn, if you're super fat? Because there's more of your skin that's out there getting burnt because it's being pushed out? Like, doesn't that make sense?
Yeah.
There's more skin to be touched and burnt by the sun. You ever thought of that?
Yeah. English makes a great point. It's like that slap fighting without the head trauma. See, that's what we should do.
True.
Although you're starting to bring melanoma into the conversation. But it was a wild. My wife couldn't believe it because she thought people were setting off fireworks, which is you're not supposed to do in the campground. And then I come back and I'm like, no, they weren't doing fireworks. They're slapping each other. Matt, see if you can go onto YouTube real quick, Ric Flair chest slap. I'll show you exactly what they were doing. They were pro wrestling fans because I got it out of them because I knew exactly what they were doing. They were pro wrestling fans, and they were just trying to make a goddamn scene there at the Lake Icaria campground. This, and for the record, it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This was not like they had been boozing all night. Watch this.
What a tag team match! Ric Flair and Triple H.
This is it.
Against Shawn Michaels, who just got chopped and chopped again, along with Randy Orton. Look at the nationwide all glory.
It was like, oh, you lost in Flip Cup. Now you're going to get your ass handed to you, and I'm going to. They were like welting up. Craziest shit I ever saw. I want to lead with this. Iowa State right now has the number one
you really
recruiting
go
class
there?
in the country.
Oh, my God.
Right now. The number one basketball recruiting class in the country after getting a commitment from Jamarion Bateman out of Wisconsin yesterday. Number one, Hassel.
I know. Look,
one.
I saw this yesterday, but then I looked into it, and Van Wink's got the thing up right now. They're number one. And look, that commit was great. It's another top 100 recruit. Awesome.
Don't poo-poo it. Don't poo-poo it.
Well, I'm going to poo-poo it because the way that the rankings are done, it's based on a point system, and the more commits you have, the more points you get. And Iowa State has 3 commits where other programs might only have like 1 5-star. So Iowa State has 2 4-stars and a 3-star. That gets them 57 points. You might have a team with a 5-star, but they only have 1 commit, and they're not going to be ranked close to you. So I take this with a grain of salt, okay?
Who's number one?
Iowa State's number one. Scroll down there, Maddie. Well, who else we got down? I see the top 5. Is there anything else there? Or did you just
Hang on, I just screenshot. I'll come right back.
Okay, because
Cox are right there.
You know that, like, some of these blue bloods, like, look at the top 5 right now. It's Ole Miss, South Carolina, Georgia Tech, Florida State, and Iowa
You're
State.
right. And
That's
I'm obviously screwing around. I will make a prediction, though, that this will be another top 10 to 15 class for us when it's all
right. So
said
you
and
got.
I don't think they'll fall off much.
So Illinois and Syracuse, they each have 5-star commits, but they only have 1 commit. Look at Harvard. Harvard has the 11th best class in 2025 because they have a 4-star. So, look, great get again. Otzelberger's killing it, but
This will be a top 15 class, maybe top 10.
they were top 10 last year.
And then they lost a guy from that class already. Did you see that last week? From what I understand, the Dwayne Pierce, he wasn't going to play next year. Maybe he's even going to redshirt, but he from New York City, and he got homesick and took off.
Well, I mean, Omaha Baloo as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you really, especially now with all these transfers, it's like freshmen have never been less valuable in college basketball than they are right now.
That's a great point. 100%. And
because even if it's like an elite freshman, the 25-year-old is still probably better.
Yes. Now, they'll become a little bit more valuable once we get out of this COVID bonus year era.
Yeah, yeah.
But as long as we have the transfer portal and all the money going into that, freshmen are never going to be as valuable as they were, say, 10, 15 years ago, when you could win a national championship if you get a couple of good freshmen.
Yeah, I mean, that really is what did Calipari in my mind, because he – you know, you had a guy like Scott Drew who used to get a lot of like McDonald's All-American, and then he shifted. He started taking transfers, and then Calipari down there, he kept getting the one-and-done guys, and then it got really hard. It's hard to win with 18-year-olds against 23 and 24-year-olds. It's just hard. I don't care how good they are, how talented they are. Potential is for the NBA. In college, people want to win now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just
I've come to a point as an Iowa fan where I don't count on anything from freshmen. Like what Owen Freeman gave was, I think, an outlier for most freshmen these days. I don't expect anything from the incoming freshmen at Iowa. The only thing I'm really looking at is the guys that are coming back. And Iowa is going to have another older team with Sanford coming back.
The real quick on this, too, another camping story is we're doing a little basketball. You know, I've told you about my sister. She's a huge Iowa State fan, but she loves Caitlin Clark.
That's
Caitlin
a rarity.
Clark,
I feel like Iowa State fans do not
my
like
sister
Caitlin
is
Clark
one of
for the
those
most part.
crossover people where she loves the fact that Caitlin's from Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
She just loves watching her play. Like, my sister and my nieces will just they have the Fever games on their library on YouTube, and they watch every minute of every game. They're obsessed. Well, my sister, and God love her, I love her to death. But we're out there on Sunday at the camper, and the NASCAR race is getting ready to start, and we're getting all amped up. Chase Elliott's starting 5th, big day for us. Well, the frickin' Fever tipped off at 2. The NASCAR race was starting at 3. And my sister overrides everything. So we had to watch I say to my dad, I go, man, we have really evolved, Dad. Like, we were watching the WNBA in this campground instead of the NASCAR race. And we did it because it was a good game. My sister is the worst kind of Caitlin Clark fan. She's the one that gives all of you a bad name. She was purposely mispronouncing Diana Taurasi's name, just being a total jerk about the whole thing. She hates everyone out on that court, including her teammates, because she just thinks Caitlin Clark is so much better than everybody else.
See, your sister is part of the problem.
She's like your dad.
Yeah. That's part of the problem why, and one of the reasons why there's been so much pushback against Caitlin in the WNBA. Because
I know. I saw it firsthand.
She has fans like that that just go nuts. They want the coach fired immediately.
Oh, yeah. She thinks that coach sucks.
The teammates are all worthless.
I was trying to explain to her, I'm like, Jenny, did you really think that Caitlin was just going to get in the league and be Michael Jordan on day one?
Well, but I think fans like that believe, yeah, if she was in the right situation with the right coach and the right teammates, she would be. I do believe that a lot of people think that. Now, I would say, in their defense, Caitlin didn't go into a great situation, but that's what happens when you're the number 1 overall pick most of the time in every sport. You don't go to a great team. But I did expect the offense to run more through her, and I did expect her teammates to catch the frickin' ball and put it in the hoop. Because there are so many times where Caitlin gets charged with a turnover, and it should have been an assist.
Real talk here. Staggering to me. So my nieces are there, and they're locked into this game. And my niece brought a friend. So I have my sister, and I have 3 girls all under the age of 17. Okay? Mm-hmm. And they all play competitive basketball, good players. They did not know who Diana Taurasi was.
Never. I mean,
they'd never heard of her.
She hasn't been that prevalent in sports over the last decade or so. I mean, she was a huge deal 15, 20 years ago. I mean, when she was in college, a huge deal. But that's part of the problems the WNBA has had. Once you go there, you kind of get out of the national conscience. Now, that's changing. And Grant's in the comments. Yes, 46th straight show talking Caitlin Clark. Awesome. Hassel, you're being one of those fans right now. No, I'm not. Look, what is it? July 2nd. What the hell? You want us to break down the Cubs infield right now? I mean, that was a great game on Sunday.
Pretty hot.
Caitlin Clark and the Fever
awesome game on Sunday.
Beat the Phoenix Mercury with 3 Olympians on that team. 3
Great
Olympians
game.
that were taking over Caitlin Clark. And
really glad we watched it. We had a
I'm
blast
not saying that
watching
Caitlin Clark should have been on that team because I do think it was borderline. Like, it was really close. It would be hard to take anybody off that team, in my opinion, and replace them with Caitlin Clark. But they're playing the Aces tonight. Should be. I mean, Aces are favored by double digits. But this time of year, we've talked about this before. If this is in the fall, if this is in the winter, if this is in the spring, different story. But right now, this is summertime. We're talking about sticking bottle rockets in our ass and lighting them off to start the show. Yes. We can talk a little Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. Tonight, by the way, we'll find out the All Star team for the WNBA. I'm interested in this because we saw the fan vote.
Supposed to make it?
We saw the fan vote. She was second only to Asia Wilson.
Well, that's insane. But
I think she'll make it because, you take the Olympians out of it. Like Asia, she's on the Olympic team, so she can't be
the
on
Olympians
the
aren't
All Star
yeah,
team.
then she's there.
So, and then the Olympic team is going to play the All Star team, and so there's also a chance that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are on the same team.
Maddie wants to chime in. What do you got for us, Van Winks?
Okay, so I saw this floating around on Twitter yesterday. Which basketball program between Iowa and Iowa State do you think has had the better program in the last 10 years?
What do you mean?
So who is that?
Who's
that? No, men.
Men.
Who's had the better men's basketball program in the last 10 years? Iowa or Iowa State? Who do you think's higher?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, if you look at it overall, there's no question it's Iowa State because of the Sweet 16 appearances, but they did have a couple really bad seasons, but one in particular. Iowa's been more consistent.
Okay, so check out this graphic that College Basketball Report put out from the Ken Palm average finishes based on the season.
That 0-19 years is going to crater Iowa State.
Iowa State is at 37th. Iowa is at 24th.
Yeah, Iowa's been more consistent. I mean, that doesn't surprise me that much. I mean, what did they finish in Ken Palm the year they went 0-19 in the Big 12? Iowa State.
And I know it's semantics, Big 10 versus Big 12, tougher conference, but
sure.
So,
but you forget too, the year before the 0-19 they were bad too.
Right. And
Iowa's
never been absolutely horrible. As Cole points out, look at the number 40 team.
Look at UConn
in this ranking. It's UConn, the team that's won the last two national championships. Has Iowa had a better decade than UConn? No. So, I mean, I get it. This is what, Iowa basketball fans, Fran McCaffrey fans are going to say that, look, we're a top 25 team. There's been consistency, but that's not what most Iowa fans are looking for right now. They're tired of the one and done in the NCAA tournament, the inability to get to the second weekend. That's why there's apathy right now in the program, coming off, missing the tournament. But they weren't bad. Like, they were close. They were very close to making the NCAA tournament this past season, but that's not going to cut it right now. Sorry.
Meanwhile,
especially when Iowa State's going to be a top 5 team.
Well, okay, so I was going to get to that. I had a tweet from a guy last week, and he's like a really rational, like fun guy. This wasn't, we know the type of like just the jerks who are always trying to start shit on Twitter. This wasn't the type of guy. And he goes, Chris, he's dead serious. Am I wrong for going into this year thinking national championship or bust?
What? That's crazy. I think you can go into it thinking we've got to make that next step. We've got to get to the Elite Eight.
Yeah. I was just
maybe win the Big 12 championship. Like,
it's
that
so
would be
hard
a huge step.
The best team rarely wins that tournament. It doesn't happen very often.
That's too much.
Big Hawkeye you are just fan, setting yourself up to be pissed.
Kelvin says he thinks it's easily Iowa has been the best program over the last decade. Player of the year and 2 first-round draft picks. He says JFC, no-brainer. Come on.
I mean, I also think like it does matter when you look at the arena and no one's there. Like,
yeah.
That does. I don't know if it doesn't play into like the objective conversation that we're having, like if wins and losses and all that stuff. But like, if it's God, like why aren't if it's so successful, why aren't people there?
Because it's flatline. It's basically the same thing every year, and we're going on year 15 of this.
Yeah, and Iowa State's had fresh starts. So you had Hoiberg, and then he leaves, and even when Prohm takes over, it's like you've got all those players. You had Niang, Monty Morris, all those guys coming back. You were still excited. Prohm tanks, and then you bring Otz back, and they're really good from day one.
In Kelvin's defense, it is, I think, closer than a lot of people would, because
if you're going just objective by the numbers, those 2 Prohm years were really bad, and the one was historically bad.
And as he points out, National Players of the Year, finally some some NBA players that Iowa has produced. I mean, that was not something that Iowa was doing more than a decade ago. So it has been better. It's just been kind of the same every year, and then you have these years where you're supposed to break through, and you can't do it. And fans are apathetic to the whole thing now.
Want to thank our newest sponsor here on Iowa Everywhere, Kaburski Brothers Lawn Care.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
I'm all about
these guys.
paying for lawn care. I'm all about it. I come home every Monday, and my lawn is pristine. It's cut. Everything's trimmed. I mean, I wish I had Kaburski Brothers down here, but I'm going with...
You like to know that I hired these boys. They're going to do some landscaping in the back.
And that's the biggest thing.
Yep.
That
they're going to do some landscaping in the back for me.
The landscaping is what's key. Because I can, if I really wanted to, I could mow, I could trim, I could do all that. I could make time for it.
So wait a minute. You've been mocking Bloom about mowing, and you don't even do it yourself?
No. My wife doesn't let me because I travel so much. She says that she thinks I would get too stressed out, and so we pay.
So my wife has this thing where she doesn't want anybody to mow but me because I'm so good at it. I'm an elite lawnmower. I can mow a lawn. It's one thing I do well. But she met these Kaburski brothers.
I love
these
mowing
Kaburski
lawns
brothers.
too, but
she meets these Kaburski brothers, and she's like, you can let them mow. You can let these guys do it if you want. And I was like, no, I'll keep doing it, but I'm going to hire them to landscape around my deck. See, I have it done. Like, I did it years ago, but it's not the same as like when the pros like the Kaburski brothers. It's just not the same.
Alex Kaburski, one of the brothers, he and I go way back. He was a photog at KCCI back in the day.
No
Great
kidding.
dude.
Really?
Great guy.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, my God. I forgot to. So, anyways, real quick, heads up to our newest sponsor. We appreciate our friends at the Kaburski Brothers Lawn Care. KaburskiBrothers.com. That is spelled Kuberski. KaburskiBrothers.com. That guy who approached me at the pits last week.
Oh, the guy that said he hated me for some reason?
Yeah.
What was that story again?
We didn't talk about this last week, did we? I just want to make sure I'm not hitting this twice. This guy,
I don't know. We talked about it, but maybe it was off.
Oh, no, because we pre-recorded Thursday's show. So we have. I'm at the pits in Oskaloosa, okay? And a lot of people in the dirt late model world I know, like, because I've been around this world for 15 years. I know a lot of these people who will come up and be like, hey, Chris, I still watch your show. You're doing it. Like, so it's pretty normal for somebody to come up to me. And this guy, and I could smell the beer on his breath, okay? And he's holding a Busch Light. And he's kind of like he's pissed at me. It was like, this is going to be confrontational. You could just tell. And he shakes my hand, and he's pretty nice to me. And he goes, I've been looking for you at races for a while now. And I go, oh, why is that? I fucking hate that Chris Hassel, is what he says. What? And I go, why? I go, a lot of Iowa State fans tell me they hated him, and now they've grown to like him. I get that way more. Like, that's normally what people tell me. And this guy claims to have been a student reporter when you were at WHO 13. And allegedly, you were at the Drake Relays interviewing Lolo Jones. Okay. And apparently you, like, barked at him and pushed him out of the way when you were trying to get a shot.
There's no chance, unless he tried to budge in front of everybody, there's no chance. I don't ever remember doing that to anybody.
He said you were a total dick to him. And I stuck up for you. I said, here's the deal. Chris is actually one of the, like, nicest people I know. Like, and I said, like, that's really surprising to me that he would put his hands on you like that. And this guy was pissed.
There's no way. There's no way that happened. Unless he did something just horrifically bad and wrong because he's a student reporter and didn't know what the hell he was doing. student reporter for who? Drake?
Iowa State Daily. Because I did
Iowa
ask.
State Daily.
So there's a little bit of Cyhawk thing going on here.
Okay.
You know, at this time, you're pretty mouthy towards Iowa State at this point in your career.
Yeah.
Right? You're doing a lot of the yippity-dippity hazzle-dazzle stuff.
I mean, we're talking 15 years ago.
I mean,
now,
he had hung on to it, man. This guy had hung on to it.
I will say, I do remember covering Lolo Jones at the Drake relays. And I was usually there with the camera.
This guy said he finally felt like he had made it. This is God's honest truth. He goes, I finally felt like I had made it because I was on the blue oval with Chris Hassel and Lolo Jones, and then Hassel pushed me out of the way and was a total dick to me.
Well, did he have a camera? Does he have video of this? I'd love to see it.
I'm guessing he just had a little digital voice recorder.
That's the one thing that always pissed me off about those media scrums is that the print writers wanted to get right in the middle when it's like nobody wants to see a shot of somebody from the side. Let the TV people in the front and get the news people.
There's animosity between the print and the video.
What drives me more
Tommy
nuts is when our videographers take the shots from the guy on the side like you're talking about.
What do you mean?
When all like it doesn't happen very often, but like with Cyclone Fanatic, when we have because we have videos too, right? Like we're all doing it now, and when we get shots from the side, so it's like you can see TJ Otzelberger talking about the side of his mouth. It's the fucking worst. I'm like, don't even post it. Just go and post the sound off one.
Well, maybe we'll hear from this guy. So, what does he do now? Is he out of the business?
I mean, he's a dirt racer. He's a
race car driver?
He's turning wrenches for somebody. I don't know. I got out of the situation. I've never had that awkward of a like. I thought the guy was going to fight me. Like the way he was looking at me.
I find that really hard to believe that I would have pushed a kid, out of the way. I don't think so. I'm not a confrontational guy. You know.
I know. That's what I told him. I go, he's actually a very sweet guy.
In fact, I allow people to inconvenience me because I don't want to inconvenience them. My wife can't stand it. She hates that I'm always looking out for other people and not for us, for me. Like I'm always yelling at her about you're walking too slow. Get out of the way. You're in the way. We're in the way. Let's move over here to the side. They need to get around. I don't think this happened.
Thought I'd pass that along. Yeah, Zach says you're really non-confrontational except for the headbutts.
Wow. That was.
I mean, this would be around the same time of your career, right?
That was a unique circumstance, and yes, it would be around the same time.
Chris says, "Didn't you headbutt that guy?" I'm seeing a pattern of behavior.
I was never amped up to that level at the Blue Oval with Lolo Jones, because unlike this guy, like the Blue Oval was one of the last places I wanted to be. Like I loved covering Iowa and Iowa State football games and basketball games. I hated the Drake relays. Hated covering it because I didn't grow up around track and field. I just didn't care. Now, it was a little bit Lolo Jones, former Olympian. Obviously, that was the biggest story of the week when Lolo was there. But I remember it was just pouring down rain one time she was there. Just pouring. It was cold.
Was she a pleasant person to cover? I never really covered her.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, I enjoyed covering Lolo.
Because she kind of seems like a pain in the ass.
I think this was 15 years ago. She might have, maybe she changed. I haven't seen her in probably 10 years, but I always enjoyed, because she was an open book. She had a lot of personality. I always enjoyed talking with her.
A couple other things to hit on. Every time somebody tells me to watch a U.S. men's soccer game, I get excited about it, and they always...
Did you watch last night?
I watched it after my niece's softball game. I watched I literally turned it on right when Uruguay scored. And it was like, God damn it. Every time you people tell me to watch a men's soccer game, they always disappoint me.
By the sounds
I like watching the women. They're always kicking ass out there.
So what happened, for people that don't know, the U.S. men's national team was playing probably its biggest game since the World Cup a couple of years ago. This is the Copa América. It's basically our Euros. Euros is going on right now. That's getting all the shine because it has some of the best most of the best teams in the world. But this is a battle between North America and South America, and Uruguay is one of the better teams.
Is that how you say
U.S. Uruguay?
Uruguay?
Yeah. I mean, you can say Uruguay, but I think
it's not Uruguay.
No, it's not Guay. Uruguay.
Okay.
But
go ahead.
The U.S. needed to win this game to advance
unbelievable
to the round of they didn't even get out of their group. But by the sounds of it, talking with soccer aficionados like Thomas Rongen, who works for us at CBS Sports HQ, was talking to him yesterday. Former MLS coach. He was in the U.S. National team coaching tree for a while. This loss basically means Greg Berhalter is probably done, and I think that's probably a good thing long-term for the U.S. men's national team because there's some other managers that are out there that would do a better job. So this could be good for the World Cup coming up. But a huge disappointment by the U.S. once again.
Every time I start to care a little bit, they suck.
And the coverage was ridiculous. They had a horrible camera angle for much of this game.
The stadium wasn't full.
The stadium wasn't full? I didn't even notice that. Oh, that's terrible.
No, it wasn't. Apparently, I'm just going off of what I was reading by some business people on Twitter. The tickets were way overpriced.
And
it was like $200.
My cousin and his 2 kids flew out from California just to watch the game.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. But I'm telling you, put and Nico says there were only 50,000 fans there at Arrowhead for that game. You put Argentina up against Chile in Miami, and the place is going to be packed, and the tickets are going to be, soaring in price. People, I don't know. They're just, and I maybe it's just because of what you said. Every time, you want to get excited about the U.S. men's national team, they just let you down. They don't have any signature wins. They don't beat the best. They'll maybe beat up on Mexico and some teams that are ranked in the 20s and 30s and 40s in the world, but they don't beat top 15 teams.
Kansas City's just such a soccer town,
Right. It is.
I thought that they'd fill that thing up. But again, I guess the prices were just out of control for it.
That's the camera angle that Van Wynk's got.
Apparently they switched the camera angle after
they must have been having technical difficulties.
They went to this one.
The weird thing about soccer is with these games like this is they only get one feed. It's the world feed. Mm-hmm. And then, you have your English broadcast in America and you have your Spanish broadcast and all these other languages. They have to take the same feed. So you'll have the announcers bitching about not showing replays of something. There was a point last night, somebody made a move and the announcer was like, I can't believe they didn't show the replay. You don't get that on anything else because, if it's anything American, the announcer is also plugged into the truck that's got the director and producer that are coming with all the shots. By the way, my buddy John said Brazil and Mexico played at Kyle Field. They had 85,000 for that game.
Wow.
To my point, people aren't as excited about this U.S. men's national team.
If that would have been a women's game, would there have been more people? I think there would have.
I don't know. I mean, the women have more of a track record, obviously. Great.
There's
history.
More women's soccer players who are stars in this country than men.
That's totally true. But some of them are aging out now. There's a new generation.
This will be an important next World Cup for the women to build up on the stars because they're, the U.S. women's soccer is booming right now. They're getting their own stadiums. It's TV deals. It'll be really interesting because you're right. They need to build up that next. There's a lot of really good young talent, but it's not mainstream that group that we saw about 10 years ago or so.
The group that was beating teams so badly that we were pissed off at their celebrations, up 13-0. Act like you've been there before, God damn it.
The men can't even beat Uruguay.
I mean, Uruguay is a great team. Like, they are one of the favorites.
I'm sorry.
To win this.
I beat Uruguay. You got home field advantage. You're in the home of Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid's there.
The game really didn't mean that much for Uruguay. Like, they had already advanced.
I'm just kidding. I have no idea. I know Uruguay's good. I just, again, like, it just, all these soccer people hit me over the head every 2-3 years. You got to watch this game. Chris, you got to watch it. You're going to be blown away. I was blown away, all right.
Yeah. Not the game to watch yesterday, that's for sure.
Let's do our Triple B, and then we are going to do a quick Big Ten football conversation to wrap up the show.
Bigger, better, bolder.
Powered by Kelderman Manufacturing.
I was with Kelderman in the pits at Oskaloosa when that guy approached me, and I thought Kelderman was going to swing on him.
Oh, yeah. Kelderman's in my corner, baby. You come at me, Kelderman's going to get you.
I thought he was going to swing on him. Oh, by the way, shout out to Kelderman. For my 40th birthday, he made me one of his vintage signs. It says, "Happy 40th, Chris Low T. Williams." It's currently up. There we go.
I worked with him on that. I workshopped the idea. He asked me, "What should we do? What kind of sign should we do for Williams' 40th?" I love the Iowa State football uniform touch, and that it's black and white. It's a black and white Iowa State uniform. He's already got the new white uniform top out there.
Yeah, it's good. Low T. Hey, you know what? I was talking with somebody over the weekend about this. I wish I would have gone to Game Day Men's Health 5 years ago. I'm serious. I'm not afraid to be the low T guy. If I have to be the low T guy to get more guys in there to Game Day Men's Health to start feeling their best, I'll do it, damn it. I'll be the low T guy.
I know you will.
Kelderman Manufacturing, bigger, better, bolder. We'll let you start, Hassel.
Okay, I'm going to go with our good buddy Andrew Downs.
Yes.
Who has had a really tough week. The longtime Murph and Andy producer just so happened to have a surgery scheduled for the last day of Murph and Andy, so he couldn't be a part of any of the festivities.
That was heartbreaking.
Goes under the knife. Surgery didn't go as well as he had hoped, so the recovery time is now longer than he thought it was going to be. So the poor guy stuck in the hospital all weekend. He's still there this week, and not only did he miss all the festivities with Murph and Andy last week, now, I mean, what could the kid use right now? Laying in bed, what does he need? He needs Murph and Andy from 1 to 3 to help him get through his day, and he doesn't have it. So my shout out to Andrew Downs, who's...
What about you called him a kid? He's older than both of us. That was heartbreaking. I was at all their stuff, their going away party at Confluence, and while it was all great, it was really... It sucked to not have Andrew there because he's such a – and I've been, in the bowels of KXNO over the last decade, and Andrew was just the heartbeat of that place, like the guy who, I'm sure he time clock-wise didn't get paid for everything he was doing, God knows. And, like, he was the heartbeat of that place, and selfless is the number one way I would describe Andrew. So, yeah, we're thinking of him. He's
going to be fine, but it's a long road to getting back to 100%, and he's just kind of hanging out there in the hospital until they discharge him. So I know it's been a tough last week or so. So shout out to Andrew Downs, who's doing a good job getting through this.
Hey, I'm gonna swerve here for a minute. The Clarinda Cardinals, baby. My niece just pitched last night and won the Hawkeye 10 championship for the Clarinda Cardinals. First championship for my hometown since 1973. How about that last night, baby?
Wow, something's in the water because, you won the championship with your softball team after a 2-13 regular season? And now this. All right.
Yep. Good week to have Williams in your blood, playing the sport of softball. Congrats to the Clarinda Cardinals. The baseball team won the conference too. So we had 2 champions this year. Pretty awesome. Good job, kids. Maddie, who do you got?
All right, what did Brock Purdy do this time?
It's a sad day in the Bay Area. The Splash Brothers.
Mourning the end of the Splash Bros.
Klay Thompson is moving on to the Dallas Mavericks. 4-time NBA champ. One of the best shooters in all of the NBA. He's going to have his number retired by the Warriors, apparently, after he retires. But, man, he was so fun to watch this last decade plus. He and Steph Curry were just two of the best shooters on the same team. You don't see that very often. I think they're like I think there was a stat that said like there's a duo, like the 2 leading scorer duos. I think it was like, I don't know, Bird and who was it, Hassel? Who were the top 3 leading scorer like pairs that were on the same team at a time?
I mean, like Jordan and Pippen.
Yeah,
Jordan and Pippen.
Stat.
I think they're
yeah.
the third. They're the third.
I thought the Splash Brothers really changed basketball, specifically Steph, but you can throw Klay in there too. And I thought that they, at a youth level, really resonated with kids who aren't, 6'10", and they showed that you can be a really good player and be a skilled player, not necessarily one that plays above the rim, right? And I thought that Steph specifically, but I think that the duo with Klay put them on the map and helped change the women's game. I mean, you just see so many women out there, Caitlin Clark, one of them, that emulate Steph Curry. And, what a legacy those 2 guys have. So, wow, what an ad for the Mavs, though. Like,
weird to see him in that jersey. Yeah.
Well, they're going to have to shelve. We're going to have to shelve the Big Ten talk for out of time.
We'll do that. So next show we're going to talk about we're going to rank home field advantages in the Big Ten and the Big 12. How about that? And last but certainly not least, a week from today, Hassel, is Big 12 Media Day. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow. Where's it at this year?
Vegas.
Are you going?
Yeah, I'm going.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I'll do the show next Monday, and then I'm literally leaving and hopping on a plane to Vegas because, I got to be out there on Tuesday. But they're like welcoming the Pac-12 schools.
Here we go.
It's time.
It became official, by the way, Monday with a bunch of schools like Texas and Oklahoma now in the SEC. SMU is now in the ACC. So all of it has finally kind of become official and happened. I just hope that we're not going to get another realignment blockbuster this summer, because this is usually around the time that this shit happens.
I don't think we'll get it this year.
God, I hope not.
I won't rule anything. There's no TV deals and stuff that would make it even possible. It would have to be Florida State or Clemson win some lawsuit, and then they're gonna. That would be what it would be.
And then that could just accelerate the end of the ACC. ACC is ACC is a mess. Cal and Stanford in there. Give me a break.
Brutal. All right, no show on Thursday because it is the 4th of July.
We got to do the fireworks.
We got to blow shit up. I'll have a couple other things for you. We'll have a Legends and Listeners. I will have a CW pod for you here on Iowa Everywhere. Thanks to Fareway Meat and Grocery for sponsoring the program. As always, we are in the Channel Seed Studios for Chris Hassel, for Matt Van Winkle. I'm Chris Williams. Have a very safe and happy Independence Day.